Why aren't you all at work? It's Friday. Children, put your hands up. Any children? Why aren't you at school? Well, I'm glad you're here. And I'm sure if you're missing school today, your mom's going to write you a note because she's probably here with you. Bad influence, moms and dads. Take it. I know somebody for sure took their kids out of school to bring them today. So that's okay. I remember one semester, I didn't show my parents my report card. Mom, the teachers went on strike just before they wrote the report cards. And as my parents were Greek and didn't know any better, they believed me. And the reason I didn't show them the report card that semester was because it was summer. And I had more absences than presents because I was at the swimming pool. It was sunny in England. Excuse me. That doesn't happen very often. When it does, like school, forget it. I'm getting that tan, that weak tan. So, well, welcome to, where am I? Richmond. Have I been here before? I have? Have I been here before? Are you sure? A long time ago? Like a long time ago? Like, no. The racetrack. Oh, right, the racetrack, right. The menopause has happened. So we're going to get my little quick talk on the menopause. So boys, you think this doesn't apply to you, but it does. Because, you know, when your women go through the menopause, you have to take a mental pause. Because your partners are going to lose their minds for a while. I talk about the menopause, and I know it's weird because you want to hear about Data and Ryker and Piccard, but bear with me. The reason I talk about the menopause is because I did human biology at school for like 5 years. Not once did the menopause word come up. And I was doing human biology, not like regular biology, right? So we learned about menstruation, we learned about boys' bits, girls' bits, all the bits in between. Menopause never came up. I went to an all-girls school. So I've decided it's my mission in life now to talk about the menopause because I did have the worst menopause in the history of the universe. And apparently I'm going to be one of those women who has hot flashes forever. Yes, that can happen. Thanks, Mom. She put a curse on me. She said, I hope you have a daughter and she's just like you. So I decided never to have children because I was an awful child. But anyway, so the reason I talk about the menopause, because I went through early menopause and I didn't know what was happening to me. I thought I was getting early onset Alzheimer's. Because this is how you spend, girls, ladies, the ones who are around my age, you're going to relate to this. This is how I spend my days. Why did I come in here? Oh, shoot, I can't remember why I'm in this room. Let me retrace my steps. It might remind me why I came in, right? So, it happens to every woman on the planet, and the reason we don't talk about it is a leftover from the times when women were worthless after they couldn't produce anymore, right? We are not worthless after we can't have children anymore. I never had children to begin with. So this goes back to those times, and we have to fight against it because it's nothing to be ashamed of. We all go through it. It's a totally natural part of our lives. It sucks, but we all go through it, and we have to talk about it, and we have to talk to our daughters about it because we're not worthless when we can't reproduce anymore. We're still vital human beings. So, that's the educational part of the talk over and done with. So now we can do some questions. Yes, love.
I'm Allison.
Hello, Allison.
Hello.
How old are you, Alison?
14.
14. Right. I have shoes older than Alison. Yes, go ahead, love.
What was your opinion on the Ryker Romance?
I was a big proponent of the Ryker Romance as opposed to the Worf Romance. I don't know what that was about. Well, actually, I do. I think the producers and writers just saw Beauty and the Beast once too many times. The only thing I didn't like about the romance was, you know, he was like the stud of the galaxy, so he was like doing, you know, Alien Lady of the Week.
Womanizer.
But then, if you think, Troy put it about a bit too. So, it's kind of equal. Maybe he did it a bit more, but she was no goody two-shoes either. Yeah. So, that was my favorite. I didn't like the Worf thing at all. Yeah. In fact, when we did that scene where we had to kiss. Now, Michael Dorn is my best friend in America, right? It's weird kissing your best friend, right? It's weird. I did make him take the teeth out. I mean, look, I don't understand. Even like stupid Klingons you think would have discovered dental floss by the 24th century. But no. So we took his teeth out, and we rehearsed the scene, and then we got to the part where we kissed, and then we'd go, oh yeah, then we kiss. And we never actually kissed in rehearsal. And then we actually had to do the scene, and we had to kiss. And we were kissing. It's weird. And he started making these weird noises. Like weird kind of groaning, grunting animal noises. So when we cut, Dorny, yes? Was that you or was that Worf? And he just smiled and walked away. Anyway, next question. Yes, love.
My name is Sydney. What was it like when you were playing in the Face of the Enemy, Romulin?
Oh, well, I liked the episode in as much as finally we got to see that Troy can kick some ass, right? I do not like wearing prosthetic makeup. I don't. I admit it. I hate it. It's uncomfortable. It's destroys your skin. I had a scar on my face for about 6 months because because obviously an episode that you're in a lot, they want to get, because what we have what they call in the Screen Actors Guild a 12-hour turnaround, which means that if you get wrapped at 10 o'clock at night, they can't call you until 10 o'clock the following morning, right? If they do call you before that time, they have to pay you something that is called a forced call, which is like quite a lot of money. It's about $900, right? So they don't want to pay you that. So they'd be like, get her out of her makeup really fast. Well, getting out of makeup really fast when you're wearing prosthetics can actually do terrible things to your skin. So yes, I had a scar on my face for about 6 months after doing that. So I'm not a big fan of the prosthetics. I totally admire the people who did it their whole Star Trek life. I mean, I don't know how they did it, because I have to be honest, I do turn into the psycho bitch from hell when I have prosthetic makeup on. I know it's hard for you to imagine this sweet thing turning into psycho. But for those of you who came to see Deanna Troi, sorry. You got Marina. Thank you. The only thing that Marina and Deanna have in common is we're the same height. Basically, different in every other way, okay? She's much sweeter than me, as you may discover if somebody asks me a really stupid question. Yes, love, no pressure.
Now I'm not on the spot at all. Hi, Mr.
Hello.
I literally just did the walk into a room and forget why I'm there and had to retrace my steps
There you
while I was
go,
getting
see?
ready to come here this morning, so yes, it happens. My question is, I was a huge Next Gen fan. I was a huge Gargoyles fan. It really seemed to have like a revolving door of Next Gen cast with Gargoyles cast, and how awesome was that? Like, did you just, hey guys, I got a great voice acting job for you? or did they?
No,
cast
we
for it?
auditioned. We auditioned. No. There was no, we have a job for you. No. There was a come in and read for Gargoyles, actually for TNG and Gargoyles. But obviously TNG, we were all unknown, apart from Will Wheaton and LeVar. We were all, even remember, you might all be like, oh gosh, Patrick Stewart. But let's be honest, none of you had heard of Old Baldy before Star Trek. Oh, sorry, excuse me. Sir Old Baldy. Right, now he's famous, right, but not then, because the casting director said to me, look who's our captain. And I'm English. And I went, yeah. I mean, I've seen him, like, in the theatre, but what's his name again? I mean, really. So now he's like this mega star, but let's not forget where he came from, the Royal Shakespeare Company. None of you have been. Have you been? Who's been? Yes. You've been. Excellent. What did you see? Really? Who was in it? Anybody famous? See? No idea. She went to Stratford and saw the Royal Shakespeare Company, and she still doesn't know who she was looking at. So that's who Patrick was, right, when we started. Right. So, did I answer the question at all? Oh, I don't care. Okay, next question.
Actually, just a comment. My wife just went through menopause. She didn't have any children either, and I just appreciate your comments. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Were you a nice husband when she was going through it? Excellent. Well, you're the wrong person to ask. I should ask her wife. It's like, don't want to get too sad, but my husband passed away just before Christmas, and I had a motor. I have so much of his stuff to sell, and one of the things is a Harley Davidson. And when my in-laws came for the funeral, I said to the boys, because he has nephews, I said, so who wants the Harley Davidson? And then I went, I think I'm asking the wrong person. Mom, can they have a Harley Davidson? No, you're not having it. Right. She's the law. Yes, love.
As a person who also has been through menopause, I want to give you a very important thing. There's a pillow by Serta, S-E-R-T-A,
right,
that's always cool.
Oh.
Ah, you need to buy it.
Yes, I do. Thank
Walmart
you.
online.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
God bless you. Thank you.
Been there.
Okay.
My question is, before your role in Star Trek, most women were enjoyed by the captain and the first officer.
Mm-hmm.
You played the part of a woman who enjoyed life.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like being the first woman in Star Trek with that role?
Well, listen, I'm a child of the 60s and 70s, right? I was born in 1955, do the math. And so I'm of the generation where the pill was invented. Woohoo! We all went a bit bonkers. We did. But I think the fact that, in the 24th century, we're portraying women as equals, and that means equal in every shape, form, every way, including the sex word, right?
Right.
There's not one set of rules for boys and one set of rules for girls, right? And when the pill, in my opinion, the pill was the most important invention of the 20th century because it changed life for women 100%.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I know I'm in Christian land here, but I'm not changing my views. I don't care what you say. You know what I love? I have to tell you this. I love to baffle the evangelicals because they always assume that liberals don't know their Bible. I know my Bible, and I'm about as far left as you can get, right? So I love to argue with liberals because the Bible is kind of up for interpretation sometimes, right? And you can choose to interpret it a certain way. Well, I choose to interpret it the way Jesus said. And Jesus was a socialist. Right? And those of you who aren't clapping, because I've just said that really dirty word, socialist, I just want to remind you about the parable about the camel, the rich man, and the eye of the needle. And just leave it there, okay? Thank you. I know, this is going down like a cup of hot sick, isn't it, really? Yes, love.
Hi, I'm Tyler. Me and my mom just love your show,
Thank
Star
you.
Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah,
And
I
I was
know.
wondering if there.
I know I was on that show. Thank you.
But yeah, I was wondering, as an actor during The Next Generation, was there any moment that you could pinpoint that was more challenging? Maybe you had to prepare yourself emotionally, mentally, as a person, and be like, "Wow, I really got to like prepare to get this right, like
Yes.
this moment right."
Yes, I had rape scenes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I had 2 rape scenes. And yeah, as a woman, yes, you do have to prepare for that. Because no woman wants to go through that. But
Right.
if you have to act it, you kind of have to be it, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, they were really the only 2 times. Yeah, but yeah. Serious stuff, so
Yeah.
you have to approach it right.
All right, thank you so much.
Oh, blimey, you're loud. Yeah, all right. Hi. Sorry. No, you weren't loud. It was just standing in front of the amp.
Hi,
Yes, love. Hi.
Hi, Marina. I wanted to offer my condolences for the loss of your husband.
Thank
We're so
you.
appreciative that you still decided to come here and spend time with
Well,
us.
thank you. It's actually gets me out the house, so it's pretty good, yeah.
The question I had for you is you've said before that you wish that TNG went on for longer, at least
Yeah.
10 years. Where would you have liked the show to have gone, and what would you have liked to have happened to your character?
Well, I was, I didn't want her to be dead in the future, like she was in All Good Things. But obviously, wasn't really dead in the future because I show up in Piccard. I think it's this week's episode. Yeah. And apparently, according to the people who've seen it, I haven't seen it, and I'm in it. Will Wheaton's seen it. He's not in it. Jonathan's seen it. He's in it. But it made him cry. I know. I love making people cry. I do. It's like, okay, it worked. I did it. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited to see it. Little spoiler: not wearing a spacesuit. Not going to wear one of those again. Because I would have to lose about 15 pounds. And at this age, that would look really bad. I would look like Joan Rivers' corpse. Which is not a good look. Yeah. Yes, love.
Hi, Marina. This
Hello,
is
love.
your lawyer.
This lady is a doppelganger of my attorney.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
And a year younger than you are.
You're a year younger than me?
Yeah.
Child.
What was in your whole acting career, what was the most fun thing that you ever got to do?
The Rocky Horror Show. I got to be Magenta in the Rocky Horror Show, and we toured in Germany. We went to Germany, to Munich, and we went to Milan in Italy, and it was It was so much fun. It was so much fun. British actors on stage, very different to American actors on stage. American actors on stage take it very seriously. British actors on stage, we're always looking how we can make the other person laugh, right? We're always trying to break them up. Even when we're doing Shakespeare, it's like there's always, and in Rocky Horror, there's so many ways that you can like mess with people. So I remember in one of the final scenes, I had to put rubber gloves on, and on the final night, the girl who played Columbia had filled up my rubber gloves with baby oil and sugar. So when I took them off, I had to sing, and I couldn't, the mic kept slipping out of my hand. And I put like, and our boy who played Rocky put socks in his Speedos. So on the last night, I pulled him out. He was very pissed off. So stuff like that. So yeah, we like to have a good time. Yes, love.
Hi. So I apologize if this question was asked. I unfortunately came in late.
You were late.
Yes. Sorry.
We should punish you.
Yeah, you should. I deserve
Okay.
it.
All right, what's the question?
My question is that the rules between Damona and the Gargoyles and Deanna Troi in Star Trek were so very different. How did you prepare yourself for that, and what were the challenges crossing from one character to another?
I'm going to quote Sir Laurence Olivier on this one. As I was saying, American actors and British actors tend to be a very different breed of people, right? You get a lot of what we call method actors in America. They it's weird. They have to be hot and sweaty before they can act. So method actors are usually before a scene, running around, doing push-ups, running on the spot. I suppose it's to get the blood flowing, but it drives the makeup people crazy because they're like, oh God, they're sweating again, you know. British actors, not so much, right? We don't do that. So Laurence Olivier, Sir Lawrence, was doing Marathon Man with Dustin Hoffman. Do you remember this movie, old people? Okay. So, Dustin, big method actor. Sir Lawrence, English. So, after one of the very, tense, dramatic scenes, Dustin goes up to Sir Lawrence and says, Sir Larry, I'm like half killing myself to get myself ready, in the moment, to get myself ready for the scene. And you just walk out of your dressing room, walk on the set, and do it. And you're brilliant. And Sir Lawrence said, it's called acting, dear boy. Kind of how I feel about it. It was harder to play Deanna than it was to play Demona, because Marina is more like Demona in real life. So the challenge I had with Deanna was to keep Marina out of her, to be un-Marina. So if I had a decision or a choice to make, it would be, okay, what would Marina do? Do the opposite for Deanna, right? So that was all. It's, acting is telling the truth. Acting is being truthful. If you mean what you say, it comes across. If you don't mean what you say, that also comes across, and that's the difference between a good actor and a bad actor. I just, I see things, and I'm amazed these people ever get jobs. But now I've realized that there are some people who are really good at auditioning, but they're not really good actors, right? Because what they're doing in the audition, and this is for all you drama people out there. Are any drama people out there, actors? Okay, good. Okay, so I'm not talking to, ridiculous myself. When you audition, you're giving your own performance, right? You're in your little audition bubble. You don't have to relate to anybody. When you're acting on a set or on the stage, you're usually talking to somebody. So acting is listening and reacting. Auditioning is doing that, whatever you've planned to do in your bedroom in front of the mirror or whatever, that's auditioning. I never plan what I'm going to do in a scene ahead of time because I want it to happen organically when I'm working with the other person or the other people. You can't impose what your will on the scene because you don't know what the other people are going to do. So this is another reason why I'm not a big method fan, because they do actually decide what they're going to do before they arrive, and then you could be turning cartwheels in the scene and they don't change the way they do it. So that's why I don't like it. Anyway, enough about acting. Let's get back to Star Trek. Yes. Not that there isn't any acting on Star Trek, of course.
Hi, my name is Ashley.
Hello, Ashley.
I just wanted to let you know that after, I appreciate that it's still having such a great impact 20 years later, because I have a 4.5-year-old son who has autism, and up until a year ago, he was nonverbal. And when he was learning how to talk, we had such problems trying to see what he wanted because, he gestured and things like that,
Right.
but we couldn't ever really figure out what he wanted. And the first time that we thought that he really expressed an opinion was he was at my mom's house, and she was, I grew up watching Star Trek. My mom's a big fan, and so when she was just chit-chatting with him, like, oh, do you want to watch? And he would always sit and watch Star Trek with me, and so she was just saying, like, oh, do you want to watch Paw Patrol or Star Trek? And then once, that was the first time he said Star Trek, was one of the first times he had expressed an opinion to us, so.
Oh, okay, that's the best story.
Yeah.
Best story. And is he speaking now a little bit?
Yeah, he can speak in like 5-6 words at a time, and I just taught him kind of accidentally to respond to this with Live Long and Prosper. So yeah, so that's been a big influence on him, and he really really enjoys it. We watch it every night together, all the series.
Well, God bless. Thank you for sharing that with us, my darling. Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you.
Thank you, my love. See, that's amazing. On that same kind of topic, I was at a convention and a young man came up to me and he said, Miss Sirtis, I have Aspergers. Do you know what that is? And I said, yes, actually, I do know what it is. And he said, well, I want to thank you. And I went, for what? He said, well, I understand you because you say what you mean. Right? So I went home and I said, see, you think I'm a big mouth and always have to voice my opinion about things. But there's a whole slew of the population on the what do they call it, on the spectrum that like me just the way I am. So I'm not changing. So there. Yes, love.
Hi, my name is Jared, and I just want to start out by saying please never change. You're always the highlight of any panel.
Oh,
or any
thank you. Thank you. Well, you've obviously been more than once, so thank you very much.
My question is, what was the emotion like when you got the call for Piccard?
Well, that was interesting because I had committed to do a play in London last summer. It was a play that wasn't written for me, but I had to play the part because it was about an aging actress who used to be on a sci-fi show. So no research. So I definitely wanted to do this play. Plus, you know, we had the theater booked. So I get the call from my people, and they want you to be on Piccard. Oh, great. What are the dates? Can't do it. What do you mean you can't do it? I'm doing my play. Oh, well, just, you know, apologize, say thank you very much, but, you know, I'm not available. So then the next day, Alex calls me. And I said, Alex, I know why you're calling me, but I'm still not available. And he said, well, you're just doing a play. Mm-hmm. Can't you send on the understudy? And I was like, well, first of all, I won't have an understudy because it's my photo on the poster outside the theater. And there are people coming from all over the world to see it, from America, from Canada, every country in Europe. I mean, how are they going to feel if they show up and they say, oh, by the way, forget the poster, you're not seeing Marina tonight. And they've spent money on airfares and hotel rooms and meals and all that to come and see me in a play. Oh. So when are you available? At this point, I should have lied and said a week later. But I'm trying to be helpful and amenable. You know, this is a great opportunity to resuscitate Troy. And so I said, you know, I told him exactly when I was available. And so I closed the play at 10:30 on Saturday night. At 10:30 Sunday morning, I'm on a plane to LA from London. At 8 o'clock on Monday morning, I'm at the studio getting my costume on. And on Tuesday at 6 a.m., I'm at the studio filming.
Oh my gosh.
Right. Duh. Don't do that again, Marina. They don't know when the play was going to close. I could have said a week later, 2 weeks. What they did was they shot it out of sequence. They shot it, you know, in the middle of another episode. So, it worked. I have to be honest, wasn't like jumping up and down with joy to play Deanna Troi again because I've done it for like over 180-something hours, right? What I was excited about was working with my chums. That was the best part. Patrick, bless him. He's like this little old guy now. He's like a little old man, you know. And you could see he was so happy to be with us again. And then LeVar and Michael Dorn came to visit. And it got really loud. Got very loud. And then when they left, the crew were coming up to me and saying, oh, God, we could hear you from like 300 yards away laughing. Was that what it was like on TNG? I'm like, yeah, every day. We had directors who hated working with us because we were so unruly. But what they didn't realize was, because we're not method actors, get me back on that again, because we knew we were prepared, right? When they said action, we started acting. When they said cut, we started talking to each other again. Just picking up the conversation where we left off. And so it was so much fun. We did laugh for 7 years. Laughed nonstop for 7 years. And really, one of the greatest blessings of my life was that I was cast on that show and got to work with these people who are now my family. There are very few shows in Hollywood where over 30 years later, the actors are all still best friends. And when Michael passed, they were the people who showed up. Dorney, Brent, LeVar, Gates showed up that day and stayed with me all day. Just brilliant people, brilliant people. So that was what I was excited. Now, see, I've made myself cry. And so, okay.
Love is love.
I have waterproof mascara on. Okay. Yes, love.
Hi, my name is Surinder.
Surinder? That's awesome.
Thank you.
Now, is that two words, two names put together?
Yes, this is my mother's name.
Yeah, and?
Her name was Linda Shera.
Linda Shera, and they, well, see. Psychic, I'm a bit psychic.
I know. Okay, I have two things to say, and I have a question. My first thing is, I am feeling those shoes. Loving them.
TJ Maxx special.
I love it.
Hello, love the TJ Maxx.
Are they in this?
And I'm not shy.
No.
I'm not going to spend $1,000 on a pair of shoes. They're shoes. You're going to walk in them on the ground,
Yeah.
which is dirty. Yes, love.
My second thing is, you are my favorite character.
You're just saying that because I'm here, right?
No, I was 7 or 8.
Right.
And every time you'll come on, I used to get excited.
Yeah, well, see, I'm a bit surprised because the brothers love me. The brothers, I've never met a brother who didn't love me. It's weird. Even if they don't know who I am, they love me. Didn't expect it from the sisters so much.
No,
Because I get the look, because I'd be honest, I go out with Michael Dorn, well, I used to before he had a partner. I used to go out with Michael Dorn a lot because my husband was he didn't like parties, hated red carpets, he hated all that stuff, right? So Michael Dorn would be my plus one. So when I was with Michael Dorn, boy, did I get looks from the sisters. Another brother with a white woman, really. I'd get the look. I'd get the look. A fine black man with another white woman. And I'd be like, no, we're not together. I have my own white person at home. I haven't stolen one of yours, I promise. And what is your question, Surinder?
My question is, that is really true. Okay, my question is...
was that racist?
No.
Okay, I have to check. I never know anymore. You know, apparently I can't tell my French jokes anymore because they're racist. I didn't realize white people could be racist to other white people, but apparently we can. So, can't tell as an English person, not being able to tell French jokes hurts. Physically hurts. But I've been chastised. If you want to hear my French jokes, come to my table. I will whisper them in your ear.
I'll be okay.
Yes, love.
Okay, my question is, when you were on Star Trek, was that a wig?
Yes, that was a wig.
Was it awful?
You too can have Troy hair. You just buy it. I like to wear a wig, A, because I have rubbish hair in real life, and B, because I have rubbish hair in real life, it's not going to look that good on the screen. And also, I had to be at work at 5:15 in the morning. When you have to be at work at 5:15 in the morning, wig is good. Because it means the hairdressers can do your hair when you're not in it. So they can work on your hair while you're in the shower in the morning, getting ready for work. Right, so that's why I like a wig. It gives you, we start filming at 7. So that means you have to be ready by 7 in the morning. So Dorney was, you know, the people, the aliens who had to, like the major, like full prosthetic, everything, they had to come into work at like 3 o'clock in the morning to be ready for 7, you know. We had to do that once. We were live on Good Morning America. So it was 7 o'clock on the East Coast, but it was 4 a.m. on the West Coast. And we said, are you going to pay us overtime? No. Well, do we have to come then? Yes. So, yeah, I had to be up at like 1:30 in the morning that day. Hello, handsome.
Hey, how you doing?
Is that sexual harassment?
No, it's not.
No? No. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
You love me, don't you?
I do indeed.
Yeah, see, I told you.
I was going to say, she actually...
What's your name?
Patrick.
Hello, Patrick.
Hello.
I'm single again, you know.
I know. Yes, ma'am. So Surinder just actually had my question about the hair, because I was going to say, like Patrick Stewart had said at one time that he found that himself being, you know, the old guy, not being sexy and all that stuff.
I think a lot of women would have argued about him not being sexy. Right. I mean, not me. I don't think he's sexy. No. But other deranged women do. Yes, love.
Absolutely. So he said, like, you guys used to dress like, you know, Jonathan Frakes, you dressed really nice and sexy, and your outfit was really form-fitting and all that stuff. And we love you because you were really, really shapely.
I know.
So, yeah.
They like shapely.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, you do. But no ass, but you forgave me that.
I do.
Because we would send search parties out for, I mean, actually, it was the thing, it was one of the jokes we had on TNG that to get cast, you had to have a big nose and no ass.
Wow.
If you watch the show, you'll see what I'm talking. Watch it closely now. We used to send search parties out for well, especially Branson Gates. Yeah, we used to send search parties out for their ass.
So my question also was, which hair did you prefer? Did you prefer up, like in the...
No, bunhead. No, didn't like bunhead.
I didn't like that either. You look like a genie. I didn't like that.
Bunhead. No, yeah. See, what happened, the thing was about the hair and the costumes and everything, because we were a reboot of the show from the 60s, so there were a lot of people who worked on the original show, right? Including the costumer. So that was why we were like rejects from the 60s in the first season, first few episodes. They couldn't figure out what to do with my hair. My hair, okay, let me tell you, the only time you actually saw my hair, my real hair growing out of my head, was in the very first episode, Encounter at Farpoint. Yes, ladies, that exploded Brillo pad on my head is my real hair. This is my real hair ironed. Right? So, yeah, it was not good. And also, that bun, if we did a group shot or we were doing, people standing behind me, it cast a shadow on them. Denise hated the bun. She's like, get that bun out of my face. So I was quite happy when we went with hair. Although in the second season, when I did get hair, it was actually a $60 nylon wig. It was cheapo weepo. But third season, we got the good real hair, and actually, when I got Piccard, I was waiting for the call about the wig and the contact lenses, because, eyes not black. So I waited and I didn't hear anything. So I called them. It's like, you know what? I say I'm a bitch, but I'm actually quite nice, because I could have been a bitch and not called them and just like landed them in it. But no, I called and I said, you do realize that I wore a wig and black contact lenses, right? What? What wig? What contact lenses? I said, well, don't panic. I might have them. I had them. Let me look. I knew where the contact lenses were, because especially since the menopause, you always put things back in their place. because if you don't, you will never find them again. Tip to those of you not gone through it yet. Put things back where they belong. So I had the lenses. I looked for the wig. I had the wig. So I went in for my first costume fitting, which was before I went to England to do my play. And like I said, okay, so you have to refront the wig because they cut the bangs too short, and you have to get the contact lenses cleaned because they've been in that little case for the last, 20 years? So they did, and it all worked out. But because they had to refront the wig, and I was in England, they sent the wig, FedExed it to London, sent a hairdresser over to cut it on my head, and then I had to FedEx it back. So we went from the $60 nylon wig in the second season to me getting a call from FedEx in London saying, is this wig really worth $10,000? Yes. Because it was made for me, my head. You know, they wrap your head in tape and it's the whole thing, and so they make it just for you. So I thought, I didn't steal it. Let me just clear this up. I didn't steal it. The hairdresser gave it to me. And with the contact lenses, Mike Westmore said, you should take the lenses because if we keep them, they'll get lost. And if you ever need them, you'll have them. There were other things that I took. I remember people often ask us, what did we take? And Brent, bless him, he was like, well, I didn't take anything because, I asked if I could have such and such, and they said no. And I said, well, that's where you went wrong. I didn't ask. I just took. So I even took my director's chair. Right. You're supposed to take the back of the chair, the piece, there's fabric with your name on it and the name of the show, and that's like a souvenir of your time on the show. Well, I decided that the chair, it's like a high chair, is the perfect height for when I'm doing a red carpet or a party and I have makeup and hair come to my house. It's the perfect height. And I ran into one of the producers, Mary Howard. What are you doing, Marina? I'm taking my chair. You can't take your chair. I'm taking my chair. Marina, take the back of the chair like everyone else. Mary, I'm taking the chair. Oh, for God's sake. Okay, take the chair, take the chair. Well, that was easy. Let's go into observation. So these comfy chairs be really good for watching TV because they lean back and everything. They stopped me with that chair. Mind you, I have to say, twice, not once, twice, and once during the filming of Nemesis, someone stole the captain's chair off the set, twice. This was post 9/11. They were searching our cars when we went onto the lot for bombs and shit. And, I'm like, excuse me, we've had 2 captain's chairs stolen. Perhaps you should be searching the vehicles that are leaving the lot, as opposed to actors who are literally coming into work and have no intention of blowing up the studio that's giving them a paycheck every week. Think about it, right? So, yeah, it was very funny because Scott Bakula, love him, when he found out, because they were filming Enterprise when we were filming Nemesis. And he went to props, and he had them make this little baby chair, all different colors and crooked and everything, and had them write captain's chair with a K on it, and presented it to Patrick because he didn't have a chair. We had fun. We did. Last 2 questions. Right, love. Hello.
Good afternoon. My name is Maggie. I want to circle around to a comment you made earlier.
Oh.
I'm a clergywoman.
You're
and
a clergywoman?
Yes, so
Yes,
I
love.
also like to drive the evangelicals a little crazy.
Yeah,
Just
right.
my very person does that someday.
Okay.
So just
Are you
thank
going to
for
argue
that.
with me about Jesus being a socialist?
No, actually, I agree with you very much.
Excellent.
On that. Yes.
Right.
I think that is a correct interpretation of the scripture. So, okay.
See all you red people out there, you got it wrong.
My comment and question to you, I appreciate the role model that Counselor Troy and Dr. Crusher were on The Next Generation, and that portrayal of a strong and capable woman who is in command of her own realm, and also takes increasing amounts of responsibility over the course of her career. Were you aware of that role model aspect of the character at the time that you were filming and doing Counselor Troy, and did that affect how you portrayed her as the show and the movies went on and developed over that time?
No. I mean, the short answer is no. I was not aware. And listen, knowing my past as I do, I would never hold myself up to be a role model. Really, not the opposite. However, that was as a child, a teenager. I never thought about this at all because I've always walked to my own drumbeat. You know, I was brought up by very strict Greek parents who literally, once I got home from school, that was it. You know, not allowed out the house anymore. So not allowed boyfriends, not allowed to go out with my friends to the movies or for coffee, none of that. I had to point out, and it was all because, you know, my brother was allowed because he's a boy, and boys can't get pregnant. It's as simple as that, right? I did have to point out to my mother at one point that it doesn't have to be nighttime to be bad. You could be bad during the day, like that semester at school when I hardly went, right? So I never saw myself as being a role model, but I was always very strong and very opinionated and was not shy about voicing my opinions. And was always not a confident person, I have to be honest, because very few actors are actually confident. It's like an act that we put on a lot of the time. But I was always kind of, how can I put it? I was not afraid to express myself, which was kind of not allowed in my house. So that caused a lot of other problems, but that's a whole other convention. So when people come up to me now and say, I make my daughters watch TNG because I want them to see strong women role models, I never saw myself in that light. I just saw myself as me. And I'm glad I didn't know that at the time, because it may have colored the way I approached the role. It's like when people come up to us now, and it happens a lot, and they say, "You saved my life, your show saved my life." And they're not joking. They were going through really bad times, and watching TNG was what gave them hope to keep going. And so I'm glad we didn't know that at the time either. We're only finding that out now. Because again, how would that have affected how we portrayed the characters? So I'm glad we didn't know it back then. I feel totally privileged now to have been part of a show that did have that impact on people. I mean, how many actors can say that? Because, and I have to be honest, it kind of blows my mind because I'm just an actress. I mean, yes, I have a method. I learn my lines, I hit my marks, and I try not to bump into the furniture. That's my method. So the fact that my little bit of acting has impacted people's lives so immensely is kind of a head explode moment. But how? Well, what a blessing it is to even have helped somebody that much by what I do for a living, which isn't like a doctor or a surgeon or even like, people who collect trash. They have a purpose. Never felt that I really had that much of a purpose in life, but now I realize with TNG that we did, and it's fantastic. It really is an honor to be in that group. So, yeah, didn't go back to the question, didn't realize, but do now. Yeah. Yes, love. Don't clap. That wasn't even worth a clap. That was me searching for words and. Yes, love.
Hi, I'm April.
Hi,
My question
April.
is, so I grew up
Were you
watching-
born in April?
Yes.
Are you an Aries?
Taurus.
Ah.
I grew up watching Next Gen, but when I saw you on NCIS, freaked out because I was very excited. How was it working on NCIS?
I love working on NCIS. Excuse me, Mark Harmon, hello. What a dreamboat for women of a certain age. Right, right? He's a lovely man. And he would, Marina, would you have lunch with me? Oh, yes. Come and sit next to me, Marina. Oh, no, I want to sit opposite you so I can look at you all through lunch. Well, I can't turn sideways. I want to look at him full on. Whew, gorgeous. At the time, I had a Porsche. It got stolen. Yeah, I know, don't. It makes me cry even thinking about it. And because I can't afford a Porsche now, when I bought the Porsche, I could afford it. I paid for it and wrote a check. I mean, it was used. Don't get all excited about how much it cost. It was 7 years old. It wasn't brand new, but it was the car of my dreams. It was the car that when I was a poor, struggling actress in London, I would see these Porsches, the one with the whale tail, you know, with the convertible, and that was like my dream car. And then when I was on TNG, I think it was 1992. Yeah, it was 92. And you don't see many of those, and there was one on a car lot, and I stopped my Chrysler LeBaron, because I'm English and don't know any better. I thought it was a really cool car. Look, he's laughing his head off down in the front. It was cool. It was, okay, fine, it wasn't cool. I should have realized when I said to the Porsche guy, would you take my LeBaron in part exchange? And he said no. Anyway, that car got stolen. I cried for 3 weeks. What was the question? It's gone. What was the question? NCIS, right. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Also because it was a great part, right? Now, I have to tell you, I wasn't their first choice. I knew that because I got a call like 2 weeks before. I got a call from my manager who said, I've had an availability check. I said, I don't care. I don't want to hear about availability checks because that's not a job. Call me when there's an offer, right? So 2 weeks later, he calls and he goes, you got the job. I'm like, what job? He said, the availability check. I went, oh, right, what was that then? He went, NCIS. I went, what? NCIS? The #1 show in the world? And he said, yes. And I said, when do I start? He said, tomorrow. I went, what? He said, yes, you've got to be at the studio at 3 o'clock this afternoon for a costume fitting. Fine. So I knew I wasn't their first choice. So I did. I went and I got my script at 5:30. I then had to drive back like 30 miles in the rush hour in Los Angeles, exactly. And so I got home around 7:30. And I looked at the schedule for the next day, and I had 7 pages of dialogue that I had to learn before I went to bed. So, God bless Mark Harmon. He knew, because he's a producer on the show, not just an actor. So he knew that I'd been cast at the last minute. And when after we shot the master, which is basically everybody in the shot, you do the whole scene with everybody, and then you do the close-ups and the 2 shots after that. Well, he made sure that all my, what we call coverage, was done last, so that I got a run at the lines before it was my turn to be on camera, which I thought was pretty awesome. So I have nothing but great things to say about Mark Harmon. The reason I brought up the Porsche, now it's all coming back, right? He had had a Porsche before he was a dad. And he had bought his in Stuttgart in Germany from the Porsche factory, and he still had the license plate. So he sent it to me. He gave it to me. I know, came in, he messengered it to my apartment. So yeah, good man, really one of the best. In case you want to know who was first choice, Jonathan found out for me. It was Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. So I don't mind coming second to her, you know, because I got the job. So yeah, it's fine. So you're not a person, you're just making sure no one else stands in line. Okay, I mean, I didn't mean that in a bad way. I didn't mean you're not a person. I meant, you know what I mean. Don't get me all verklempt up here. Okay, so before I go, because I've got to leave tomorrow. In the afternoon after my photo ops. Please rush the photo ops because I have to get on a plane like an hour later to go to Miami to go on the Star Trek cruise. Any of you lot going on the Star Trek cruise? Oh, you wish, yeah. For the actors, the only escape is over the side. But it is fun. And they also, and if you ever can afford it, because it's not cheap, I have to, you know, let's be honest, it's not cheap. You get to see us doing things that are not Star Trek. Because they don't want it to be like a convention on a boat, although it really is. So they want us doing other stuff. So I am reading Love Letters with Anson Mount. I know. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also hosting the blackjack contest, because that's my game when I'm in Vegas. And I introduce people. And then, you know, Gates does tap dancing classes. Terry Farrell does yoga classes. And I think Brent does a show because he sings, you know. So you get to see us doing other stuff. That's all I'm saying. So before I go, I just want to say, and actually, let me just, show of hands, who has seen me before at a convention? Okay. Where have the rest of you been for the last 30 years? Okay, fine. Well, you showed up eventually. That's all that counts. So some of you have heard this before. The majority of you haven't. And I always say this at the end of every show that I do. And I'm never going to stop saying it, so just get used to it. There are a lot of people in my business who don't kind of think through, if they become successful, why they're successful. You can be the greatest actor on the planet. If people aren't watching you, you may as well be acting in your garage, right? Or garage, as you say in this country. The reason I had the best time of my life for 7 years and 3.5 movies, think about it, was because you guys turned up. You turned on your TV sets for 7 years. You came to see 3.5 movies. So I have thought this through. And everything I have, not just what I own, but my American husband, my dogs, my car, the clothes that I'm wearing, I owe it all to you. Because you did turn on your TV sets for 7 years. And you gave me every blessing that I have in my life. So I just want to say thank you. And God bless you all. God bless you.